You remember him way back in the day as the wrestling superstar at Bayside High on Saved by the Bell. He's been all over the place, and he was at Triple G Canelo on Saturday. In fact, his wife sang the national anthem for the United States right before the fight, right there in the middle of the ring. I'm talking about Mario Lopez. He's on the show right now. Mario, are you there?
Yes, I am, Ariel. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on. Big fan for a while.
Oh, thank you very much. This is a great honor for us. I appreciate you doing this. So you just came back from Vegas. You went from Vegas to the Emmys. Honestly now, which should you prefer more, being at Triple G Canelo or hosting the Emmys?
Oh, no, of course the fight. I mean, I was buzzed through both of them the whole time, so I just kept the party going, and I literally handed out flasks on the red carpet in the shape of a bangle to all the ladies, which they seemed to appreciate, and I had to have a hair of the dog to keep it going. But no, it was a great weekend, and like you said, my wife sang the national anthem, and I was in the ring with her, and there's nothing like it with the fight. I mean, I've been to a lot of sporting events, but I'm a huge fight fan all the way around, and it's the Roman Coliseum feeling and the purest form of sport, man-on-man, and just the energy and the intensity that it's just unparalleled. And it delivered. This fight was a great fight. I think it delivered on its promises. It got intense. It got heated. I like. It's hard to root against either fighter. I happen to know both fighters. I happen to have sparred with the fighters, and happen to have known them well. And they're gentlemen outside of the ring. They're class acts. They're really cool. And I hesitate because I felt like the nod maybe should have gone to Gennady when it was all said and done. He initiated most of the action. He let his hands go more, through more, landed more, had the constant pressure. Although Canelo showed resilience and a stout set of whiskers, he looks comfortable at middleweight. He countered. I just felt fighting in 30-second spurts isn't enough per round, and he got back into it towards the end. He started off strong. Middle rounds, Gennady started to take over. He got back into it towards the end, but it was very, very close. It's not like the greatest or the worst decision, I should say, in the world. I'm not incredibly upset about the draw, but I just didn't think it was a warranted rematch. Would have been warranted regardless if he got the nod. So, regardless, I think we're going to do it all again, and everyone wins.
Wow, you're a real pro. You just answered like 8 of my questions in one question that wasn't even about the fight. But you have to admit, see, I felt as a fan watching at home, I paid my $75. I sit through that. I hear 118, 110 Canelo. I mean, there's no way in hell, right? There's no way in hell that's...
Okay. Whenever a judge, you should never know a judge's name. And whenever the judge is starting to get more pub and is overshadowing a really good fight between two of the best boxers in the world, that's just such a stain on the evening. I mean, she literally gave Triple G 2 rounds of the fight. I mean, it just looks like that was criminal. She should have been arrested. It looks like a predetermined scorecard from the get. And the irony was that there was a lot of buzz that she shouldn't have been involved from the get, and she's judged literally hundreds of these before, but she's been met with controversy before, and it was unfortunate. The other two judges had a little more in line. It came down to the 7th round from I believe, was it Cromaretti's scorecard or was it Don's? I sat next to him on the flight on the way back, and had he chosen the 7th round, Triple G would have gotten the fight. And ironically, Adalaide Byrd gave Triple G the 7th round. So it's one of the rounds that it really came down to that, and it was just unfortunate.
I feel like it kind of calls into question the whole damn thing, because I've been asking people for the last 48 hours, in the end, because you're a big boxing fan. When Mayweather-McGregor was announced, people said that this would ruin the sanctity of boxing, that it was a farce, that it was just a spectacle, it was a freak show. But I feel like, and correct me if you feel otherwise, in the end, the farce ended up being sport. McGregor-Mayweather just was a fight that came and went. The better man won. We're done with it. And then this fight, which actually was a better fight, but in the end, it's stained by this controversy, the 118, 110 scorecard, the draw, and all that stuff. That ends up being more of a farce. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, as far as I'm a big fan of big events, and obviously the Mayweather-McGregor fight was just that, a big event. But it didn't really, it didn't lead to anything, or it's not like there was no substance in what it meant other than the big event, right? And
right.
obviously financially fruitful for both those guys and everyone involved. But this, you had so much on the line. You had two fighters with all the belts on the line, and Canelo moving up and still being at his peak, and Triple G. And I have to say, too, he's a couple of miles have come off that fastball. He slowed down a little bit. Nonetheless, still was enough to, I think, have been awarded the victory. I saw no combinations. I saw that Mexican-style hooks to the body that was like absent. That was gone. So he essentially was relying on his stout chin and a lot of 1-2 punches, which still did the job. But it'll be interesting if they have the rematch, which is being talked about for Cinco de Mayo of next year, which makes most economical sense. But
right.
I think as time goes on, it's going to obviously favor Canelo a little bit more. At least I think time's being on his side. He made it difficult for himself because I think speed. He could have stolen a couple of rounds with some of the exchanges, but that power is deceiving, and he's still a hell of a strong guy, Triple G.
So you sparred both of them. I've seen the footage of you sparring Canelo. You also sparred Triple G.
Yeah, well, the thing with Triple G, we only got in real quick because then his wife had the baby.
Oh, yes.
We had to stop.
Was
I didn't
that day?
shoot it. So he literally had to leave because his wife was having the baby. So like, oh God, of course all things come to an end. But again, both I can't say enough about these guys just being like great guys too, all the way just outside, just true professionals and just nice, good guys, strong work ethic, and they're good to their teams and the camps and everyone around them. So they're really cool, and I think it says a lot about the sport too, that you got one from Kazakhstan, another guy from Mexico, and they sort of transcend to be able to have the appeal that they do globally. I think is great.
So you host a fighting podcast. It's called The 3 Knockdown Rule with Steve Kim. You're a big fight fan. Obviously, you've been training for a long time. How did you feel about Mayweather-McGregor?
Well, like I said, my partner there was a little bit more. I mean, they're all a little. They were
boxing guys, right?
Yeah. There's the farce, and it didn't mean anything. And what did it stand for? The Ponzi scheme, this and that. Like I said, I'm a big fan of big events. I liked when Chuck Webner fought a bear and Andre the Giant the same year.
Yes.
I love. I'll take it all. I don't take it so incredibly serious, and so I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun just for that, and I thought McGregor impressed me with his skill set there for obviously getting in there with Floyd.
So he did better than you thought, or do you think that Floyd kind of carried him?
I think a little of both, to be
honest.
I think a little of both. I mean, I think Floyd, you never see it, because unfortunately I've seen most of his fights, and I say that because he's a guy who can be appreciated and obviously respected, but rarely highly entertaining, right?
Right.
And so being familiar with him, the way he was continuing to walk him down, and he's a guy who sets his feet, counters, weights, and I don't necessarily think it had anything to do with just fighting a southpaw or respecting anyone's powers. He actually took a lot of his shots, pretty well, but I still found it entertaining, and it was fun.
Are you a big MMA fan?
I am. I'm a huge MMA fan. So anytime there's an ass whooping, I'm a big fan. So I love MMA, and obviously I love boxing's been on the scene. I mean, I grew up watching fights with my dad, but I grew up as a wrestler too. So once I started getting on the scene, I remember seeing the first UFC and Gracie, and I became immediately hooked, and I've been a fan ever since, and have nothing but the greatest respect for those guys, and they're incredible athletes. Your
son trains in jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he just turned 4.
Yeah, because I've seen him wear the gi. Does he train at a Gracie school? Was that a Gracie logo that I saw?
Yeah, he trains at a Gracie school. Yeah, he loves it. He's a hyper kid, and he's already gotten in trouble at school. He's been trying to get kids, tackling them and getting them in little arm locks and stuff. So I have to talk to him about that. And he starts hitting his sister. So
wow.
Yeah, but he likes it. So yeah, I train there with him too. Like he got me into it. It's like I said, I grew up wrestling, and I've been doing it since I was a kid, and then I actually boxed too growing up. But then once I started getting more into acting and in the business, I took a little respite because it's not too kind on the mug. But then I got back into it once I started shooting in Hollywood and started going to Freddie Roach's gyms, and I fight in his smokers, and you
actually fight in the smokers?
Oh yeah, I fought about 8 of his.
Wow, what's your record?
You throw on. Haven't lost one yet, so fortunately.
Well, when was your last one?
Good. Oh, the last one's been a couple years now because Freddie got something happened to someone. I don't know if they got injured or they became sort of a liability thing. So they're trying to figure it out. So those are always fun. You throw on 16-ounce gloves and some headgear, and you get in there. The last thing anyone wants to do is lose to some Hollywood kids. So
that's right. Now I got to ask you, what happened on Friday at the spa? Someone tried to mess with you?
That got a little blown out of proportion. I didn't get assaulted. My phone got assaulted. Someone, excuse me, someone tried to start talking to me, and before I could even react, the employee stepped in, and then for some reason the guy grabbed my phone, which I said, hey, let me just get my phone and get out of here. This guy's obviously just an idiot. And then he heard that, and he got my phone, he threw it against the wall.
Wow.
Yeah, but he never actually touched me. Nothing actually happened. And then I saw the TMZ headline, and it said I got assaulted. I go, well, not really. My phone did. I never got touched.
How do they even find out about these things, TMZ? People just call them up?
There was a bunch of employees there, so I'm sure one of them called because they ended up all. That guy was such an idiot. He ended up started pushing the employees around, and like 3 people press charges and stuff. And I didn't want to ask him if I wanted. I was like, I don't want to actually do with that. And next thing I know, it must have been a slow news day because I ended up on all these news sites.
Yeah. Do you get that a lot?
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of people who try to step to you and try to pick fights with you because of who you are, how you look?
No, most of the time everybody's pretty cool. Back in the day I had it a couple times, but then I retaliated and I got sued, and I can't be putting hands on anyone anymore, and you don't need needless lawsuits. It cost me a lot of money.
Really?
I had to pay a lot of money, so now I'm like, oh man, screw that, it's not worth it. And this was just weird though. I was like coming out of the bathroom, and it was just this guy, Vegas though, people drinking, acting a fool.
When did you get sued?
Oh, that was a long time ago. I was my 20s, and 2 times in my 20s, once in my 30s.
Whoa.
And I'm 43 now, so yeah.
For fights? For people trying to start fights with you?
No, they were full-on fights. So, but they happened.
Whoa.
But then I had to settle. I ended up having to settle because it was a lot of money and pain in the ass. So it's not. Yeah, I'm about to walk away. Unless sometimes you can't. But I'm a walk away kind of guy. And most of the time, like 99% of the time, everybody's pretty cool with me, and I'm pretty cool with everybody. I try to treat everyone with respect and carry myself like a gentleman. So there's no problems. But sometimes you got idiots, right?
Does it bother you when people call you AC Slater?
No, I'm flattered, man. That means they still recognize me, and I haven't aged that poorly.
Yeah, and you certainly haven't. But it's amazing. Like, did you ever think that you would be the one who would end up being the biggest star of the entire bunch?
Oh, well, thank you. I don't know about that. But
come on. Who else is on your level? No one.
I don't know. I don't know. But, I think they stay busy, and I still keep in contact with them. They're all pretty cool, and I think doing well. And they got families now. Everybody's got married with kids and stuff, so.
But now that you have kids, like, do you show them the Saved by the Bell episode? I grew up with that. Every Saturday morning I was watching that. I adored it.
Oh, thanks, man. I think my wife tried to show it to my daughter, and she wasn't tripping. She wasn't having it.
She wanted nothing to do with it.
She wasn't. She was like, you look funny, and then she didn't. She's not.
The hair?
At least not yet.
She didn't like the pants or the hair. What was it?
Yeah, I don't know. She just wasn't. I don't think she was digging it at the time. She may discover it later on, or maybe my son will. But yeah, I don't force it on them or anything.
Favorite episode?
I don't know. Anytime we got to get out of the classroom was my favorite. Like we were on the beach or Palm Springs. Otherwise, they all kind of run together.
My favorite one was when Jessie was saying, I'm so excited, and she kept going nuts. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I remember that. She had a caffeine pill or something.
That's right.
Yeah. It was Saturday morning, so we had to keep it pretty PG.
Yeah, that's right. And what's your day like? Like, when do you tape Extra? Do you tape it towards the end?
I have a nationally syndicated radio show called On with Mario that I do for iHeart. So I come in the morning, I do my radio show, and then I go right into Extra right after that. And then the last few times I've been doing my new primetime CBS show, Candy Crush, based on the game.
Wow.
And I've been, that I'm producing some other stuff and run around, try to squeeze a workout in there. And, I'm either boxing or doing jiu-jitsu, and that's pretty much it. Or I'll go for runs, depending on how nice it is outside, and mix it up. Wife will drag me to like a cycle class. But the most difficult thing about my schedule, because it's so crazy, is kind of trying to find the time to squeeze in the training.
Right. Yeah, and you also have a YouTube show, right? The Lopez family, which you update
rather quickly. Yeah, I got a YouTube channel. Yeah, thank you for the shout-out. Yeah, the Lopez family. So, kids are the star of that.
You're killing it. Well, I wish you all the best, Mario. And it was really cool to see you guys front and center. Your wife did the national anthem at the Dodger game, and then, of course, at the fight on Saturday. It was very cool, and it was cool to see how proud you were of hers. But I was watching the show that you guys were at the Dodger game, and you were just so proud of her and supporting her. I really respect that. So kudos to you, and keep up all the great work and continued success, and congratulations on everything you've done. And I like the fact that you're still so big time, but still have love for the fight game. Much respect.
Oh, love it, man. Greatest respect, and big respect to you, too. So keep up the great work. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. There he is, Mario Lopez, the host of Extra, host of the iHeart National Radio Show, On with Mario. He's got a podcast called The 3 Knockdown Rule. He's got a YouTube show called The Lopez Family. He hosts the Candy Crush Show on CBS. He's like the new Ryan Seacrest. He's a real Renaissance man. I used to watch Saved by the Bell all the time, every Saturday, and then the reruns, Zach Morris, Screech, Jesse, Kelly Kapowski, who was the real star for a long time, and then Lisa, of course. Who could forget about Lisa? Bayside High, Richard Belding, Mr. Belding. Great times.